have some, I don't know if Sandy has already gone down to feed the parking meter, but if not, I brought, okay, I brought some new updated folders to let you know new contact information for our organization and what we are going to be doing. What I'm going to do is describe the 3 programs which we are involved with currently.
Excuse me, Holly, would it be possible for you to move your chair around, because it's a little hard to hear you when you're facing that direction?
Where should we put it?
You can just angle right around.
Just turn it around and face the audience.
Here, I'm just going to edge you right around over. That's a folder for you to look at.
Yes.
There it is. Okay. There you go. Sorry.
Okay. I like to go without going away from the food. Basically, like Rotary, Volunteers for the Blind is a 501c3 nonprofit tax-exempt organization, which has originally started out to provide volunteer readers and volunteer shopping assistance for people who are blind and live in Prince William County. But now, as we are approaching our 5th anniversary, because we opened our doors on March 15, 2006, recently we have relocated to Fredericksburg. And I did this, among other reasons, because Fredericksburg has a very wonderful, vibrant, well-established professional community of people who are blind, and I did this in the hope that there might be more interest in the services that we provide, because one of the surprising discoveries we made recently, when I was in Prince William County, we weren't getting a lot of response, and when I tried to figure out what was going on, I noticed very few people who live in that area and are blind were holding down professional jobs. And it was very interesting because a friend of mine who is a counselor in Roanoke for the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired told me that in his experience, working successfully with a volunteer requires organizational skills, and people who have not spent time in the workforce have not necessarily developed those skills. So I have developed 2 programs recently to address that. One of them is because of the absolutely astounding unemployment rate among people who are blind. We're not talking about people who are too elderly to work, or too ill to work, or don't want to work. We're talking about the working age population of people who want to work and have the desire and the skills. 70% of this group is either unemployed or underemployed. So one of the ways Volunteers for the Blind has been addressing this is by creating an opportunity for people who are blind and for one reason or another have had limited work experience to come and spend some time in our offices developing skills, so once they leave us, they have a few more tools available to enable them to compete on terms of equality in the competitive employment market. One of our former interns is with us today, Cynthia Cross. Cynthia has been totally blind all of her life, but this was her first opportunity to gain some work experience. She spent the summer and fall with us and contributed by using her Braille proofreading skills. And this is an area she discovered she likes, and she may be able to develop into a career after she completes her training at the Louisiana Center for the Blind. Now that was in contrast to our one of whom is in his 30s. He didn't have an opportunity to gain work experience because he spent 10 years of his young adult life recuperating from a traumatic brain injury, recovering from a traumatic brain injury. He has finished his training at the Louisiana Center for the Blind, which was as a result of our recommendation after he finished with us, and he's getting ready to do an internship in Congressman Rob Whitman's office before returning to college in the fall on a part-time basis for his first course. Our other intern was a very young woman who lost her sight recently and felt she wanted to gain some work experience before beginning college. And her contributions to our Braille production were absolutely invaluable. The latest program we are beginning to develop more actually started a few years ago because of a district simplified grant from Rotary International. As I said, my friend commented that people who have not worked don't necessarily have the organizational skills to learn how to use a volunteer correctly. So we have been training high school and college students how to make the most effective, efficient use of time with volunteer readers or paid readers. We just finished a seminar in Fairfax earlier this month where we worked with 2 students who just completed their first semesters in college and another woman who is about to start. And this is a bit of a sad commentary because we were asked to work with these students because they encountered difficulties because of their inability and inexperience using readers. So we worked with them and encouraged them to do their own interviewing and not depend on disability services offices in college to do that, because one of the women in our course talked about how the person was a totally inappropriate match because although he was a very nice person, he was not able to adjust to her particular needs. And had she interviewed him herself, she would have chosen a different individual. So during the morning, we talked to the students about how to look for readers, where to look for them, how to use them appropriately. And then in the afternoon, we allowed each of our 3 students to practice interviewing one of us. And what we discovered is they are going to have a whole lot of work to do in terms of formulating appropriate questions, because we feel the skills people acquire in terms of hiring and managing readers will be applicable later when they become employers. So we're hoping that this program is going to flourish, because just recently I received word that the reviews were good, and the person who asked us to produce that program for her is recommending that we also present it in the 5 other regional offices throughout the state for the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired. I know I don't have an unlimited amount of time, so just briefly, I would like to talk about some ways that people could help us, either as a group or as individuals, if there is an interest. We desperately need some new computers. The one my assistant who's here with us today is using is almost 7 years old, and I have been advised that it is in the end stages of its life. Its hard drive is going to die any minute. And we're not looking for a brand new computer, even though that would be nice. What we're really looking for is a computer that a business doesn't want anymore because it has become obsolete or less attractive with newer technology. We don't need the newest technology. We need something that also could use, so we could use a new printer for the same reason. We've had to send our business cards out because, to be done, because our printer is so old that it doesn't pull the paper in properly. So our borders look like a kindergartner made them, and that obviously doesn't look very professional. We are also, some other very painless ways to help us that might be beneficial. As most of you know, we sell survival kits. Stan bought one last year and gave it to his daughter, and from what I understand, it helped her get through one of our notorious blizzards last year. And our newest initiative is that we have a collaboration with Shackley at this point, that a certain percentage, anybody who orders from our Volunteers for the Blind Shackley website can have some of the money come back to our organization. So you can buy something that you need and you want and have it make money for us. We're not asking you to take money out of your pockets and just give it to us, but it's something you need and you want anyway. For every 250 points we accumulate in terms of these products, some money comes back into Volunteers for the Blind. We're excited about that, but I'm going to stop before I get cut off, and I don't know if it, because I know we have a lot left.
You're doing fine, Holly. Maybe you'd like to ask for questions.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
Okay. Okay. Questions? Renee?
I have a question. What is Shackley? I haven't heard about them.
Shackley is a nutritional company that sells vitamins and skin products. It's a natural nutrition company.
Oh, where do they sell? They sell in stores?
They started out in like Boston College.
I think in the folders that you have, we have yes, we have a piece of information that we have the trifolds in our those folders,
Yes.
right, Sandy?
Yes.
And that describes the program and tells you how to do it.
Holly, are there volunteer opportunities up in this area as opposed to just within Fredericksburg?
Not through my organization, unfortunately, but probably through the Columbia Lighthouse for the Blind.
Okay, but you're focused more in the Fredericksburg area?
We have to. We're starting small,
Okay.
and the Columbia Lighthouse is well established up here, so we don't want to be competing with them.
Other questions? Is there anything you'd like to point to specifically in the folder here that would you'd like to call our attention to?
Probably the trifolds. Then we have an information sheet that describes our organization. We also have something
That's
that
the info sheet
yes,
here.
we also have something it's called Ways to Support Volunteers for the
Right.
Blind. And the reason I like it is because I hate fundraising is something I don't do well and I don't like, and because it's hard to ask for money. So I'd much rather ask for support in ways that don't necessarily cost money. And like those computers. If someone has one around that isn't being used, and then the advantage is because we are 501c3, it can be used as a tax write-off.
Right. And I see that you have an info sheet in the packet on the emergency survival kit order
Yes.
form, and that's something that you sell, right?
Yes, and I think we also have. I think we also have either volunteer or consumer applications in the. Not in these. We produce 4 different types of folders. We have one that's specifically for people who want to be volunteers, and I didn't bring them because it's a little bit of a long way to go from Arlington to Fredericksburg to be a volunteer.
Right.
But we have actually 5 different types. We have large print folders, and I'm especially proud of the Braille folders that Cynthia and Kylie produced this summer. We now have have the challenge of trying to redo some of those to get our contact information correctly done, and that's a little bit more of a challenge with Braille than it is with print.
Right,
The
okay.
neat thing about those folders, they have the Braille business cards in there. We actually Braille business cards and printed them too. And, I mean, it's tedious, but that was fun to actually work on that.
Well, that's really a unique thing to have too.
Oh, yeah, it was, it truly was. It was amazing.
They had to, and most of them had to be hand done because most Braille printers do not have anything like sheet bin feeders, and so anything that they have the old-fashioned tracking devices. I don't the continuous feed paper, so it can't accommodate anything of an odd size, which really means that they have to be done individually. So they're labor of love, which Cynthia is going to be helping us with, and Mark Ross, our first intern, is also, because he's come back from Louisiana with some really exceptional Braille skills.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Holly, for sharing the information and for your group being here with you to support in that presentation.
Yes, I have a wonderful staff.
Okay, thanks, Holly.